two of whom I have here, whom I have just assessed while planting a tree, I am very satisfied that these children will fly, even if they were to do the exam today. And that's why I'm bold enough to encourage all the others that since our children are extremely resilient, we should focus on the exam that is coming in about 2 months' time, 2 or 3 months' time. Everything extraneous will come and pass. But that exam, I think, is important for us because we have to normalize as we are going into a double intake. Otherwise, it will prove to be a challenge going forward from there. In terms of CBC classrooms, we are now over 90%. The central region, which is one of the largest regions in this country, is 100%, followed by the northeastern region. Nyanza region is 100% minus Kisi, which has a few classrooms to do. Eastern region being done by Mr. Sugut is at about 95-96%. We have hiccups as is usual with Nairobi, the coastal region, and of course Western. And we are going to focus on Western, specifically Kakamega and Bungoma, which may still require that we go there. But they are also approaching 90%, and therefore we shall deliver. In terms of the classrooms that we are going to take from the primary schools, there are 2,300 primary schools that are within the same precinct of schools. We shall get another 5,000 classrooms there, and that leaves us with another 5,000, which we are trying to regiment from 1,100 will come from the SEKIP program, leaving us with about 4,000, slightly under 4,000, which the private schools are very keen to fill. In terms of the preparedness for CBC further, the teachers have been trained for grades 7 and 8. The exam is ready and willing to be administered. The teachers for grade 9 will be trained in January. One may also ask that what happens to standard 7 teachers come the new year. They will be trained using a program which will train them as they are doing their work. So I don't think there's anything else I want to say. And I want to thank our school managers, both primary and secondary, for being empathic to our children, especially those who have challenges like most of us do at this particular time, and that I am not hearing massive turnouts of people who are being told to go home to collect money, either for fee balances. Like I've encouraged in the past, if you must engage the parents, summon a PTA and talk to the parents, and some of them who are able to bring money to you should be able to bring money to you. Otherwise, we have agreed that we support our children until the time that they do their examinations. If there's a question that is pertaining to what I've said, you can ask. Otherwise, thank you very much.
A question, sir, pertaining the JCC selections. We saw that you gave an extension of the process.
Yes.
You were led with that. Were there some hitches that led you to give such an extension?
Several. One, you remember, 15th was a strong day in our country. And even those of us who have skins of hippopotamus were glued to television, isn't it? So it would be very unfair to have expected children, parents, and teachers to start selection as normal. Today also, in certain parts of this country, you know, there are people who are more concerned with other things. That is one. The second, the second one, there are some private schools which were in the process of being registered, and they did not act fast enough. And you know, we cannot register a private school, which is a primary school going into to junior secondary, without having inspected the laboratory and saying it is up to standard. So this was in a way allowing them to complete their labs and ensure that the numbers are large enough for those parents like you and me. I think you can also afford a private school, that you are waiting for your child to go to the private school. And this is extremely important for us because we have said that for those children in private primary schools, which are excellent, we would want to encourage the children, the parents, to keep them there for the next 3 years, so that the mad rush to the top schools in the country is not there. And the reason is very simple. Those top schools have absolutely no capacity to absorb the numbers that will go to them in year 9. Are we together? So we thought that it was proper to, and then the third one is that since this is a consultative process, not just a question of selecting a school, the child should talk to the parent and the teacher. And these are millennial children who seem to be too intelligent. So you persuade them that, no, this one, I think you can stay here for another 3 years, coming to suck breast milk for another 3 years before you go to the school of your choice. That does not mean that the top schools will not have a few children there because we have built a few classrooms there. But when it comes to year 9, when there is a cutthroat competition, it will be different because there will be 3 pathways. Some schools will have 2 pathways, some will have 3. And the strength of the children. For example, a very intelligent child who has shown that is inclined to music, that child will be advised that if you want to really go and do music as a career, this is the school to go to. And you may find that it doesn't matter where the child comes from, we shall help that child to go to the school that will make her have a music career. And then she will fly, not necessarily having to pass in biology again like now. So every child will enjoy. That process is ongoing. I have said we gave them a long time because it is the last time we are going to allow. Kenyans being who they are, some of them may still want to wait. But beyond that time, it will now become their problem. The
last question, maybe what will happen, maybe if a
young
child
lady,
is called
I didn't even ask where you came
sorry, my name is Tabitha from Radio Citizen.
Okay.
What will happen if a child is called to join a private school and maybe his or her parent can't afford?
I want to say this. Because we are at strange times, usually children are allowed to go to private schools themselves. But because this is a new area, the government thought it would also assist where there is a requirement. We have said that any child that selects a private school must first of all confirm with the parents. That's why we have roped in the parents. And the parents may decide, I want my child for this particular time. After all, the majority of them are in private schools, by the way, that they will have to pay. There has been a little noise about capitation to private schools. That is not going to happen. The Constitution allows us to provide free secondary education, free day secondary education. So if you know that you have no money to pay for feeding and boarding, choose any day school. And the government of the Republic of Kenya, currently led by Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, His Excellency, will ensure that you have your rights there. Every child is protected. So if you choose a boarding school, you must then know that there will be some requirement for you to pay basically for boarding and feeding. And this is why His Excellency the President ensured that we got the poorest of the poor from the slums, and we gave them Olimo scholarships, which is supposed to go for 4 years. It's like a way to have equity. So you have these children all over the country. You said it was the last, but
this is now the last. So does it mean that children or parents who have children in public school have an option of leaving or not selecting the private schools?
Well, it is entirely up to you. If you have gotten involved, what we have shown in that schedule is a guideline. Are we together? Yeah. Even in the current situation, some parents don't follow the guideline. You find the child selects Kenya High School, and like that. So, and they don't select anything else. Is that a stupid parent or an intelligent parent? Are we together? And that's why I was instructed to say that the cutthroat competition is coming in September, and that for this particular junior secondary, we expect most children to be in day schools near their parents. Forget about the parents saying that the children consume and finish the food at home. That is their own problem because they are the ones who produce them. Are we together? I want us to work together on this one, and I have a feeling that this is one of the great successes of the outgoing government. You have seen the passion with which we are ensuring that the only bottleneck that is supposed to be there is being created. And I also hope that the incoming Cabinet Secretary will continue with this classroom drive for another year, and then there should be no other problems. Thank you very much.
Thank you.